Narayanang namaskritya narang chaiva narottamam devim swaraswating vyasang tato jayam udirayet. Having saluted the Supreme Deity, Narayana, and the highest of all human beings, Nara, and also the goddess of learning, Saraswati, and to sage Vyasa, the seer, let the song of victory resound. Om, peace, peace, peace. Good morning. Today we are going to start a lecture series. The title of that series, some kind of umbrella title we call. It is A Midnight in the Palace, the Sleepless King, and the Knock of Wisdom. Who were present in our last Sunday discussion lecture, probably in the announcement, we have already disclosed what is the theme of this series. There are, in Mahabharata, the scholars, they call, there are 5 gems in Mahabharata. It is a huge epic. Probably, according to many, it is the greatest. So, it's not easy even to read completely the Mahabharata. It takes decades, at least some years. If you want to read thoroughly, of course, if you want to learn something from the Mahabharata. The Mahabharata is not some kind of, there is a major difference. There are some major differences between other epics and Mahabharata. So because as it is a series, time to time, we occasionally will discuss about the epic also. Now, to start with, we have the scholars, they say there are 5 gems in Mahabharata. Some of you already know. Though you are sitting here, you know. Let me say the one gem among them, Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Srimad Bhagavad Gita, everyone, I hope everyone here who are present here, you know. Other things are Sanata Sujatiya Samvada, the discussion, the conversation between the sage Sanata Sujata and the king Dhritarashtra. Another famous Yaksha Prashnam. Yaksha Prashnam. Prashnam, again, some questions that was asked by a Yaksha. Yaksha was some kind of a creature, some kind of celestial being. So, the god of justice or dharma, we call Dharma Deva also, was in a disguise of the Yaksha, wanted to test Yudhishthira, the wisdom of Yudhishthira. So that conversation between the Dharma and Yudhishthira, actually Yaksha and the Dharma, it is one of the greatest gems. It is Yaksha Prashnam. Another one is Vishnu Sahasranama, the 1,000 names of Vishnu, and there is a beautiful commentary on that. Many commentators like Acharya Shankara wrote beautiful commentaries on that. So, one of them is Vidura Niti. Vidura Niti, Vidura is the name of the chief counselor, the prime minister in the court of King Dhritarashtra. So, from this Vidura Niti, we have picked up. It was a night, that's why we called A Midnight in the Palace. King Yudhishthira was surrounded by luxury and comfort, a king. But still he was sleepless. A palace, a source of power, strength, certainty. They are certain what is going to happen tomorrow. They are not like us. We are quite uncertain. Apparently, I am talking about apparently. But they are quite certain. We have a wealth, we have name, fame. So in the palace, the source of that power, in the midnight, the king was sleepless. And then the knock of wisdom. We thought over that it could be that voice of wisdom, wisdom of Vidura. Then we thought, no, Vidura's that suggestions, advice were different in nature. They are in nature of probing and unsettling, and not merely soothing. When he opened his mouth, he didn't want to please Yudhishthira, please the king Dhritarashtra. He wanted to express what is justified, what is the demand of the time, what is the demand of justice. So he spoke, and sometimes it unsettles also, unsettles Yudhishthira. Dhritarashtra, the king. So Vidura's counsels comes in a continuous, forceful stream. Once began, it cannot be ignored. So being that kind of nature, we thought it was not mere a voice. It should be knock of wisdom. So let us start. And I should not forget, probably you have noticed, you have heard of the first verse that we used as the Mangalacharana. We started with the verse, Narayanam namaskritya narang chaiva narottamam devim saraswating vyasam tato jayam udirayat. It is a traditional way to start Mahabharata. Being a part of Mahabharata, we choose that one. So already you have heard of what is the meaning of that. Having saluted the supreme deity Narayana, and the highest of all human beings, Nara. There's a belief in a traditional Indian thought that the great God once divided himself in two sages, one Nara Rishi and Narayana Rishi. Sometimes you may remember there's a connection with Sri Ramakrishna and Swami Vivekananda. Once he told, you are the ancient Nara who came in this time. It goes on. So I wanted to make some connection. So then, and also the goddess of learning, Saraswati. So when you start a scripture, a text, we are not reading for information collection. It should transform our thinking. So we are preparing our mindset. Let us offer our salutation to the goddess of learning. And then we should be indebted to the author. Who is that? The sage Vyasa or Veda Vyasa. So, and to sage Vyadasa, the seer, let the song of victory resound. So here, Tato Jayam Udirayat, translation, many commentators, they thought actually Jaya. Jaya means victory. Jaya means triumph also. And they thought probably here Jaya means another name of Mahabharata itself. That is the way you should start reading Mahabharata. But if you do not accept that part, you can also. It is the latest song of victory resound. So this is the real victory over you when you conquer yourself. Location in Mahabharata. This Vidura Samvada, Vidura Niti, or the counsel of Vidura or wisdom of Vidura, you can find in the Udyoga Parva. The book of, how to translate? In different books, different translation. Udyoga means, some says it should be book of effort, or maybe book of arrangement for the war. So, Udyoga Parva, that is the name of the chapter. As you may remember, that Bhagavad Gita is a part of Bhishma Parva, the book of Bhishma. And again that Yaksha Sangbada, the conversation between Dharma and Yudhishthira, it was taken from Banaparva, the forest, book of forest, from they picked up. So here they picked up this one from Udyaga Parva, especially chapters 33 to 40. It consists of approximately 588 verses. Origin and setting. The teachings are framed as a dialogue between Vidura, the wise prime minister of Hastinapur, the name of the kingdom, Hastinapur, and his elder half-brother, the blind king Dhritarashtra. Dhritarashtra was blind. The discourse takes place on the eve of Kurukshetra war. Sanjaya, the king's advisor, had returned from a failed peace mission with a message from the Pandavas. This news left Dhritarashtra anxious and unable to sleep. I am discussing as a gist. Then we will explain what is the meaning. What was there? The word of Yudhishthira, so forceful. But he wanted justice, humility, humble words, but truth. So it unsettled Dhritarashtra when he heard that, full of humility, offering respect. But whatever he told Yudhishthira, it was that according to the moral law and justice. So this news left Dhritarashtra anxious and unable to sleep. Then Dhritarashtra summoned Vidura late at night to seek solace and counsel. Vidura used this opportunity to provide a comprehensive discourse on Rajadharma, the duties of a king, and personal ethics, attempting to steer the king towards justice and peace to avoid the impending war. Again, here, why we choose that one? Because we talk about so much of meditation, prayer, without paying much attention to the moral side of the life, the ethical side of life. You see, whenever you read all those books, when Arjuna sat for meditation, he sat like a mountain. But he is a military, a warrior. Whenever that Bhishma, when he was about to leave his body, a Kshatriya, a military, full of duty, busy person. But if you read that Bhishma Parva, fixing his mind on the eyebrow like that, like a yogi. So where from they gain that strength? Because their full attention was there while they were doing all those, statecraft, this kind of duties. So it's very important, time to time. That's why Swami Vivekananda would say, you have to, if you read the history of religion, sometimes when monks, they preach dharma, religion, they imposed the dharma, the duty of monks upon others. So the consequence was devastating. We have seen in India especially. The warrior clan become weak. But you have to fight against that, injustice. So that's the importance. So it will provide you the strength, a strong foundation. Do your duty with righteousness. Follow your dharma. Will come again, slowly will come. Then your meditation will be fruitful. Mind will not go here and there. Because you have the strength in character. You are sure that I have done my duty. So that is the importance. And who was Vidura? We have already told. That, it is Vidura sometimes, he is often considered an incarnation of Dharma, the Lord of Justice. Sometimes it is according to some faith, trust. Vidura, despite his lower social status, he was the moral conscience of the Kuru dynasty, renowned for his wisdom, impartiality, and devotion to Dharma, that is righteousness. There you may find some kind of similarity with the prophets of Old Testament and Vidura. They came and they warned the kings, the rulers, that run your kingdom with with justice, follow the moral rules. So, like that, he was the conscience of the state, of the dynasty. There are many key themes of that Vidura Niti. There we will find detailed description of what constitutes a wise person versus a fool. He was very straight. Who is a Pandita? Who is a Murkha? You should know. Who is wise? Who is fool? You should know, O king. Guidance in this Vidura Niti, we will find the guidance on governance, diplomacy, and the selection of advisors. You must be careful about your advisors. They must be wise. And at the same time, this is the external side, how to govern the state, all those things, diplomacy, all those things, and internal also. So, we will find some teachings on self-control, truthfulness, and the avoidance of vices like greed and anger. The modern world can receive profound and practical light from Vidura Niti precisely because Vidura speaks not from idealism but from moral realism, truth spoken inside a world of power, ambition, fear, and decline. His wisdom is timeless because human nature has not changed. There are some points that we can learn from that advice of Vidura. Number one, moral clarity in an age of confusion. Dhritarashtra was in a confusion, what to do. Modern life is rich in information but poor in moral orientation. Vidura insists that not everything that is, what is the proper word? Legal, but legal in the sense means not everything that is legal is right. Legal means that came from the mouth of a king or somebody from the palace. They spoke, it does not mean it is right. Number two, not everything that is profitable is beneficial. Number three, not everything that is popular is wise. He teaches Viveka, the power to distinguish right from wrong, even when consequences are uncomfortable. Number two, psychology of power and leadership. Vidura is one of the earliest analysts of power psychology, written thousands of years ago. Number one, power without self-control leads to self-destruction. Number two, flattery blinds rulers more than enemies. Number three, arrogance is a greater threat than opposition. His counsel reads like a manual of ethical leadership and institutional integrity. Warning, number three, warning against moral blindness. Dhritarashtra's physical blindness symbolizes ethical blindness. A refusal to see truth because it threatens attachment. Subtle one. There's an attachment to these immoral sons. So, we can see in the ethical blindness a refusal to see truth because it threatens attachment. I like to be attached. That's why I do not want to see the truth. Vidura teaches attachment distorts judgment. Partiality corrodes justice. Silence in the face of injustice is complicity. Number four, integration of dharma and artha. So what is dharma and artha? I will come after that, after this discussion. So integration of dharma and artha. Vidura never rejects material success or power. Instead, he insists, artha, that is, that you want some necessity of your life. You need some resource. That is called artha. So you need some resource. You should not reject resources. You need something. So, but it should be guided by dharma. So artha must go with dharma. Then we'll, afterwards, at the same time, kama, your desire, also walk with dharma. Then your life can be directed to moksha, that is liberation. So here dharma and artha, it should go hand by hand. 5. Inner strength over external success. 5th point. Vidura emphasizes self-mastery over domination, character over reputation. Number 3, peace of mind over accumulation. And something there, I remember in an interview, somebody, a famous person was talking about, in Hindi he was talking about, he was saying that what is success? If you accumulated a lot of wealth or money, it is not success if you don't have peace in mind. So to him, peace of mind was the success. So here I find same kind of thing, that number 1, self-mastery over domination. You dominate a lot of people. It is not a very important thing. Character over reputation. People may not know you, but you are a person of a good character, a solid character. And number 3, peace of mind over accumulation. In the age of anxiety, burnout, and comparison, this teaching is revolutionary. 6, one important characteristic of Vidura, courage to speak truth to power. Vidura represents the moral conscience within corrupt systems, uniqueness of Vidura. He speaks truth without hatred. Important. He speaks truth without hatred. Premeshananda ji, he told that you can fight without anger. Same kind of thing. You can speak truth without hatred. Vidura remains loyal without becoming complicit. He accepts exile rather than silence. Number 7. Vidura's wisdom is universal, non-sectarian wisdom. His wisdom is practical, not dogmatic. His wisdom is ethical, not ritualistic. His wisdom is human, not sectarian. That's why anybody in this world can follow his teachings. That's why we picked up this part from the Mahabharata. It is for everyone. This makes it accessible across religions and cultures, especially important in pluralistic societies. At the end, Vidura's teachings is a preparation. It prepares the ground for spiritual awakening also. Through Viduraniti operates mainly in dharma, and though Viduraniti operates mainly in dharma and artha, it quietly points towards moksha. From Viduraniti, we learn detachment from ego and greed, awareness of impermanence, inner freedom even amid responsibility. In community life, it's not only that. In community life, you will inevitably be judged. People will judge you time to time. In the family, in your workplace, it is inevitable. People will judge you. At times, such judgments can disappoint you. And times they may even weaken our self-confidence. It is precisely in these moments that timeless texts like this become a wellspring of strength. When you open these books, when you read that one, we can compare your understanding with the understanding of these great sages, great personalities. Vidura, Yudhishthira, Vedavyasa, and all those people. They invite you to test your own understanding against the enduring wisdom of the great sages of ancient civilization. Through this living comparison, your vision becomes clearer, and your path is corrected by the luminous moral insight of these personalities. The truth that was revealed in the Upanishads was later unfolded in concrete form through these two great epics, Ramayana and Mahabharata. What you have read in the Upanishads, what you have discussed, maybe Yoga Vasishtha, Ramayana, Bhagavad Gita, all these holy scriptures, we find that it took a concrete form, in a story form, in a Ramayana and Mahabharata. Sister Nivedita told that the new generations after generations in India, without knowing they learned all those stories from their grandparents or their parents. Unknowingly, those kind of stories or that ideas behind the stories entered in their mind, unknowingly. So, anyhow, in harmony with the teachings of the Vedas, these epics employ stories and characters to illustrate the practical expression of the qualities required for the realization of truth. If you open VedantaSTL, what you will see? Adhikari. What should be the quality to gain maximum out of these books? They will talk about Nitya Nitya Vastu Viveka. They will start Nitya Nitya Vastu Viveka. The discernment between the real and the unreal, first quality. Number thing, they will say Ihamutra Phalabhoga Viraga. Renunciation of the enjoyment of the fruits of actions in this world and hereafter. Enough enjoyment, we have enough. I am doing good, but it is not for enjoyment of the merit that I get out of that. It is my duty. I remember a conversation was going on between a mother and little girl. So that the little girl was writing in his exercise book, we must be kind because, then she cut that part because. She told, Mom, we should be kind for without any reason, not because something. God will be happy, God will help you, God will bless you. That is the reason should be of your kindness. No, be kind. It itself is enough, that statement. Then sixfold treasures, Samadhi Shat Sampatti. It starts with Shama, the control of the inner organs, Dhamma, the control of the external organs, Uparati, the withdrawal of the senses from external objects, Titiksha, endurance, forbearance, Shraddha, faith in the teachings received from the elders and the scriptures, and Samadhana. This is the six treasures. The power of concentration, and lastly, finally comes Mumukshatva, the intense longing for liberation. These are the qualities. If you open VedantaSara, the gist of Vedanta, you will find these qualities you need. But in these stories, in these epics, it is already demonstrated through these stories. You may not read VedantaSara, but without knowing, you have already, you are familiar with the idea of Vedanta. So that was in those days, that was the aim of the sages. They felt, everyone, if you say, have you read Upanishad? No, very difficult. No time. So, through the Puranas, mythologies, through the Ramayana and Mahabharata, the same ideas, they express the same ideas. So when we study the Mahabharata, we see these lofty qualities embodied in varying degrees, in its many characters, in varying degrees. Everyone was not like perfect. No, we'll see. As we read these stories, often without conscious effort, these noble virtues quietly impress themselves upon our minds and personalities. Thus, when we read When we read, hear, and contemplate these narratives, we are in fact studying Vedanta itself. So, when you read this kind of stories, some ideas must be clear. Like Purushartha, Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. To many of it may be new, it's sounding very fresh maybe, but we'll explain. So, Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha are known in Indian philosophy as the Purusha Arthas or Purusharthas, the four fundamental aims or goals of human life. They thought in that way. Together, they describe a complete, balanced vision of human flourishing, integrating ethics, prosperity, pleasure, and spiritual freedom. There is a scope of pleasure, there is a scope of prosperity, there is a scope of flourishing, and at the end, that freedom. Dharma means sometimes it is a deep word. So sometimes it says righteousness, sometimes it talks about order, proper order, sometimes it conveys the idea of duty. So dharma is the moral and spiritual law that sustains both the individual and society. We are not separated from society. If you follow your dharma, there will be a trust between you and the society. No, they know what you are doing. So it builds a sense of trust. It governs how one pursues artha and kama. In the epics, dharma is often tested in complex real-life situations. When you read all those stories, we will see that in different situations, they are testing, examining whether you are established in dharma or not, how strong you are. So, in simple terms, dharma is living rightly. Artha, material well-being, power, security. Everyone wants that. Security, everyone wants. We want power, we want well-being, we want. Artha refers to material prosperity, livelihood, power, and economic stability. Everything necessary for a secure and dignified life. So what Pandava they wanted, those things are just, were just. So this artha includes wealth, governance, success, and social influence, not condemned in Indian thought, but regulated by dharma, essential for sustaining society and supporting higher pursuits. In simple terms, artha is living effectively and securely. Kama, pleasure, love, aesthetic joy. Kama means, kama is the pursuit of pleasure in its broadest sense, sensory enjoyment, love, beauty, art, and emotional fulfillment. In simple terms, kama is living joyfully and fully. Moksha means liberation, freedom, self-realization. Moksha is freedom from ignorance and bondage, liberation from the cycle of birth and death. It is the highest spiritual goal. It transcendence. Moksha is the transcendence of ego, fear, and suffering. Central goal of Vedanta, yoga, and other spiritual paths. Moksha is living freely and truthfully. So let us read again. Dharma is living rightly. Artha is living effectively and securely. Kama is living joyfully and fully. Moksha is living freely and truthfully. So, and if we want to give a simple analogy, dharma like a compass. Artha is the resources. Kama, the enjoyment of the journey. And moksha, the destination. Dharma is the compass. If you are going somewhere in a boat, you need a compass. Without compass, it will not work. So dharma is the compass. It will show which direction you should go. Artha, you need resources, money, fuel, everything. And while the journey, you enjoy the journey. You see the other shore of the beauty. So it's a karma, and moksha is the destination. You should remember where you want to go. Together, they form a holistic vision of human life, ethical, prosperous, joyful, and ultimately free. So now let us know about the background of the story. We have to come to the now story part. So these are the basic pillars that we need to know. Again and again we will discuss about dharma, artha, kama. What are they? Now we have some idea. Long ago, in the royal house of the Kurus, two branches of the same family grew up. I am talking about Mahabharata within 2 or 3 minutes, or maybe 4 minutes. So, in the royal house, because some of you may not know, or maybe it's good to recollect everything you have heard of from your childhood. So, in the royal house of the Kurus, two branches of same family grew up side by side, bound by blood but divided by destiny. From this single family arose one of the greatest stories ever told, the story of the Kauravas and the Pandavas. King Pandu and King Dhritarashtra were brothers. Pandu, though younger, became king because Dhritarashtra was blind. Pandu have 5 sons, the Pandavas. Yudhishthira, Bhima, Arjuna, Nakula, and Sahadeva. Dhritarashtra had 100 sons, known together as the Kauravas, the eldest of whom was Duryodhana. As children, the cousins studied together, played together, and trained under the same teacher. Acharya Kripa, Acharya Drona, they are the name of the teachers. Yet, even in childhood, a quiet tension filled the palace halls. The Pandavas were loved by the people for their strength, kindness, and sense of justice. Duryodhana's heart slowly filled with jealousy. Praise for the Pandavas fell to him like a shadow over his own future. When King Pandu died, Yudhishthira, as the eldest, was seen by many as the rightful heir to the throne. But they were minor that time. So Dhritarashtra, he sat in the throne. So, but Yudhishthira, as the eldest, after him, for the time being, he was blind. For the time being, he was sitting in the throne, in the Simhasana. But after him, it should be Yudhishthira as the eldest. So this frightened Duryodhana, afraid of losing power, he plotted against his cousins. One such plot was the burning of the Lak palace at Varanavata, some kind of combustible material. Lak, we call Jotu Griha in Sanskrit or Bengali, Jotu Griha. Jotu or a lak is some kind of combustible material. So he built one, but from outside you cannot understand. So in Varanavata, meant to kill the Pandavas in their sleep. But fate had other plans. Warned in time, the Pandavas escaped and disappeared in the forests, believed by all to be dead. Actually, Vidura helped. He sent the message that from the spy I got that kind of message, be careful. Living in disguise, the brothers faced many adventures. They protected the weak, defeated dangerous enemies, and won the hand of Draupadi, the princess of Panchala. When their survival became known, the kingdom was divided to avoid conflict. The Pandavas were given a barren land, which they transformed into a beautiful city of Indraprastha. Their success only deepened Duryodhana's envy. Unable to tolerate their prosperity, Duryodhana invited Yudhishthira to a game of dice. Bound by honor, Yudhishthira accepted, unaware of the trap. Through deceit and unfair play, the Pandavas lost everything, their kingdom, their freedom, and their dignity. Draupadi was humiliated in the royal court, while elders and kings sat in silence. That day, justice trembled. Bhishma was there. Kripa, Karna, Kunti was there. The Pandavas were sent into exile for 13 long years. They lived in forests, faced hardship, and endured suffering with patience and courage. The final year, they lived in disguise. That was the condition last year of the 13th year. You have to live in disguise. So they lived like that, always at a risk of being discovered. So there is a link between that. They during that disguise period, they lived in the kingdom of King Virata, from where all those things started. We will start our the discussion. So these years tested their strength and purified their hearts. When the exile ended, the Pandavas asked for peace. They asked not for the whole kingdom, just for 5 villages. Give us only 5 villages. That would be enough. Even this was refused. Pride closed Duryodhana's ears and war became unavoidable. That is the background. So from that point, that story starts. When story means the Viduraniti, this part starts. So again, Mahabharata is divided in 18 parvas, 18 books. First is Adi Parva, the book of origins, where you will see genealogies, beginnings, the seed of the conflict. Then comes the book of royal court. What we have read now, just in a bullet point, I want to say. So first is the book of origins or Adi Parva. Then the book of royal court, Sabha Parva, where this dice game, royal assembly, collapse of dharma we have seen. Then starts Bana Parva, the book of forest exile. Here you will see their life, their trials and teachings during exile. When you face these adversities, this is the real test of your character. So they learned a lot. The sages came. You will find many stories, sub-narratives inside this Mahabharata, great stories. And they wrote stories such a way, even little kid, they will become happy. For them. And for the elders, you will get the message. Mahabharata is an excellent book. Then comes Virata Parva, the book of concealment. That Virat, King Virat, I told. So incognito life at King Virat's court. Then 5, Udyoga Parva, the book of preparation for war. Here we find diplomacy, negotiation, final choices. So it is only Udyoga Parva is the 5th chapter of the Mahabharata. After that it comes book of Bhishma, book of Drona, book of Karna, book of Shalya, the book of night massacre, the book of the women's lament after the warfare, women's of crying. Then book of peace, the book of moral instruction, book of horse sacrifice, the book of life in the hermitage, the book of the iron club, where we have seen destruction of the Yadavas, the relatives of Krishna. Then Mahaprasthanika Parva, the book of great departure, final journey of the Pandavas. Last Swargarohana Parva, the book of ascent to heaven, moral culmination and transcendence. So this is the 18 that parvas of Mahabharata. So in Adi Parva, the message is, a kingdom is shaped not by chance, but by early choices, vows, and unchecked passions. When Duryodhana was born, these sages, Vidura, they told the signs, the symptoms in this character. It seems, it is very dangerous. You have to take special care of Duryodhana. In very childhood, they realized. But Dhritarashtra, they didn't listen to all those advice. So you have to treat from the very beginning, when you see some kind of deformity in their character. So Adi Parva. Sabha Parva message is dice, drink and desire destroy both wealth and wisdom. Vana Parva, the wise grow inward when outward supports fall away. Important. The wise grow inward when outward supports fall away. When you have support, we do not grow. So when you have no outward support, then you grow inside. You look for the light inside. Vedanta Parva, he who can remain unnoticed when necessary is truly powerful. Mahabharata, great. You see, what's that? He who can remain unnoticed when necessary is truly, he who can remain unnoticed when necessary is truly powerful. So when it is important, show yourself, show your skill. But when it is not demanded, you need not to show. So this is a sign. Okay. Then Udyoga Parva, where war destroys both victor and vanquished, restraint preserves the realm. Bhishma Parva, one must act, but only after discerning right from wrong. Action is beautiful, but there must be proper discernment between what is right and what is wrong. So it goes on. So why I said that, to give some idea about Mahabharata. Now you can appreciate the gem. The Pandavas study in human nobility. Let us read something about the Pandavas. Who are the Pandavas? Yudhishthira, the eldest, is the axis around which the moral world of the epic turns. There are 4 or 5 people we should know. We should know about the Pandavas, because Vidura will talk about them. Pandavas, you have to know something about, little bit of Duryodhana, and 2 main characters, Dhritarashtra and Vidura. Because it is their conversation we are going to discuss. So Pandavas, Yudhishthira is the eldest, is the axis around which the moral world of the epic turns. Yudhishthira embodies the sattvika pursuit of righteousness. His life is governed by conscience, truthfulness, and moral deliberation. His discipline is primarily contemplative. He listens deeply to scriptural wisdom, reflects upon it, and strives to live in alignment with it. His struggles reveal the challenge of translating abstract righteousness into lived reality. That was Yudhishthira's struggle. He was the leader of the Pandavas. Whatever he read from the teachers and the scriptures, but when you face the reality, how to translate? He did it beautifully. But there were mistakes. So here is the difference between other epics and Mahabharata. They never say they are perfect. No. Sometimes they did mistake. They did some kind of... but it shaped their life also. Bhima, the second Pandava, is the embodiment of raw strength guided by a fiercely loyal heart. His nature is passionate, direct, and uncompromising. Where others deliberate, Bhima acts. Where others hesitate, he confronts. Draupadi complained about Kichaka, about his evil interest. When they were in disguise in Vidata's, that kingdom, Kichaka was a royal person, but he had some evil intention towards Draupadi. So how to solve that problem? So they were thinking, Bhishma simply killed him at night. At night, nobody realized who did that. So yet beneath his queen, Draupadi was the queen. So yet beneath his formidable exterior lies a profound tenderness, especially toward Draupadi and his brothers. He was very strong, Bhima. So he always, I have to protect my brothers. That kind of. Bhima, represents the righteous force of moral outrage, reminding us that dharma is not only contemplation but also the courage to resist injustice. Arjuna. Arjuna stands at the crossroads of action and introspection. Action and the introspection. Peerless in skill and disciplined in effort, he is nevertheless the most inwardly conflicted of the brothers. His sensitivity, self-doubt, and moral anguish reach their climax on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, where his despair gives birth to the Bhagavad Gita. That's why Bhagavad Gita was delivered to Arjuna. Arjuna became the disciple, Krishna. He is the seeker who trembles before duty, yet rises through insight. That was Arjuna. Nakula, graceful and refined, embodies humility, loyalty, and quiet competence. Known for his beauty and gentleness, he remains largely free of ambition and resentment. His strength lies in steadfast service and self-effacement. Nakula reminds us that greatness does not always announce itself. It often works silently, sustaining harmony without demanding recognition. Beautiful, huh? Those characters. Sometimes we look too much about Yudhishthira, Bhima, Arjuna. Otherwise, to understand their beauty, you need some maturity. Sahadeva, the youngest, is marked by intellect, foresight, and restraint, gifted with profound wisdom and knowledge of time and consequences. He nevertheless chooses silence over assertion. His obedience to Yudhishthira's command not to reveal his insights illustrates a rare discipline. The renunciation of ego in favor of unity. The renunciation of ego in favor of unity, Sahadev represents the wisdom that knows when not to speak. Yeah, the great Mahabharata. So all those characters. So he showed, actually Sahadeva, he in modern version, he was a great, astrologer kind of thing. He had that ability. He knew what is going to happen. But Yudhishthira told, don't, and I think Krishna also, don't tell all those things to others. So he knows when not to speak. Okay. So let us now, time is almost up. Let us start. That was the introduction part. So just another 2 or 3 minutes. I'll just to prepare our mind for the advice and conversation. So it is chapter 22 in Udyoga Parva, the arrangement of the word, that book, or the book of the effort, whatever else. So chapter 1 to 19, what they talk about, you will see the speech of Krishna. Then the speech of Baladeva, Balarama. Just before that, Udyoga Parva, the Virata Parva. After the Virata Parva, the book of Virata, when they were in incognito, that's it. At the end of things, when they disclose their identity, they came to know who they really were. So there was a marriage ceremony, wedding, between the son of Arjuna, that's Abhimanyu, and the daughter of Virata, Uttara. It took place. So it was a festival. After the festival, still all those friends and relatives were present in the palace. So they, after the marriage, after the ceremony, they sat together. Now it's time to claim our right. So it was Krishna who started the discussion. What we should do. We should send a messenger, an envoy, an ambassador to the court of Dhritarashtra from here. So then the speech of, those things we cannot discuss, but just 1 line, 2 lines I'm trying to give. Then Baladeva, he stood up. Baladeva means Balarama, the brother of Krishna. He told, okay, we should, when we speak, our ambassador will go. when he will say, the words must be, would be mild. It should not create any anger in the heart of Dhritarashtra. We should be very with humility. We have to speak. We have to choose the word, because that is the duty of messenger, of the envoy. Very wise, who knows that this is some kind of a book of diplomacy. You know how to choose. Okay, but you have to convey your message. So it was very interesting, very interesting. In other civilization, we would see they killed the envoy at some point. But here, he has a right to say that what was instructed by the king. Fearlessly, you have to say. So, okay, Balarabha told, use mild words. Then the speech of Satyaki. Satyaki was a different kind of person, full of Rajasa. No, why mild words? Why? So we are also the warrior of great capability, and it is our claim. So no mild words. Speak forcefully. The speak of Drupada. Then Drupada also told, yes, we have to convey your message. So he somehow supported Satyaki. So then Satyaki, he was from Yadava dynasty. So the mission of priest. So now the king Drupada, I think, he called. I should now stop. After that, he called the because today the Zoom session is there. So they called their priest, the Purohita. Purohita is an elderly person, a righteous person, and elderly and righteous. So they choose, you will go to the court of Dhritarashtra and convey our message. So the priest went there, and that portion was started. Then priest conveyed the Pandavas the message, and brought the message from the Kauravas court to this Pandava, that team. So it went for some time. Then Sanjaya, when they heard of this kind of thing, then Sanjaya came from Dhritarashtra's side. So it will go. So at the end, I want to say that this Sanjaya, when he conveyed the message of Yudhishthira, then he became that little. Dhritarashtra realized that in those words something was there, a subtle threat also. There was a humility, there was respect. At the same time, there was a message: don't think we are weak. So that made Yudhishthira sleepless. So next day means some point, March probably, we just finish. So let us offer salutation to the great sage, the author of the Mahabharata. A beautiful verse. Namastu te vyasa vishala buddhe fullara binda yatapatra netra yena tvaya bharata taila purnaha prajwalita jnanamaya pradeepa. Salutation to thee, O Vyasa, O mighty intellect, and with eyes large like the petals of a full-blown lotus, by whom was lighted the lamp of wisdom, full of the oil of Mahabharata. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.